her to stay in the swing of things. And yeah, so this is going to be another whispers and hand motions video. It seemed to be pretty popular the last time I did one of these. There's glitter. I can't remember the last time I did anything with glitter, but that's just how glitter is. It just comes and then it stays, and it's there for the rest of your life. There hasn't been too much going on lately. Well, actually, the other day at work, there was this absolutely adorable little girl. She was probably around 3 or 4. So, walking and talking, for those of you who may not be super familiar with children and what they can do at various ages. But I work at a library, and she came up and she said she wasn't yelling, but she was being very loud in the kind of, I am very small and you are very large, so I feel like I have to yell to make sure that you can hear me kind of way. So she wasn't being rambunctious, it was just, can you hear me kind of loud, and it was very cute. And she just came up right up to the front desk and said, excuse me, do you guys have any books? Have the book, and then I can't remember what the title was, but it was part of this series of how do dinosaurs, etc. Like, how do dinosaurs go to school? How do dinosaurs get ready for bed? That sort of thing. And it was just absolutely adorable. Her voice was super cute. She was being very polite, but again, like, politely loud, and it was just really, really something. And we did not have the book that she wanted, but we did have others in the series, and so we showed her those. And then her, I believe, father, I suppose he didn't know where his card was, and he did find it in his library card. Excuse me. And so she came right back up to our desk, and she was all ready to ask us. She was said, excuse me, is there any way that someone can check out books if they forgot their library card? And right after she finished asking the question, he was like, oh wait, I found it. And so it wasn't even an issue, but it was just really cute how she was really trying to assert herself and be confident and just talk to us. And it was just, I don't know, kids do some of the darndest things, and they can be incredibly silly, but they can also be really, really sweet. And it was a good thing. Do you ever think, so I don't know, most of you have probably been aware of this or come into contact with this information before, but have you ever thought that maybe, like in preschool, elementary school, whatever, when we were learning colors and they held up that piece of paper or whatever else and they said, this color is, if maybe when I looked at that color I saw what I would recognize same favorite color. So that's something that I've always found really curious. I really, really love astrology. I may have mentioned this before, I'm not sure, but I really do love it. Like the signs and whatnot. Like, I'm a Cancer. So now, whether or not I believe in it is kind of a different thing. I don't necessarily believe that the star you're born under is going to dictate who you are, but I do believe that people born at certain points in the year are going to have similar characteristics and traits to other people also born in that same time. Because if you think about it, the weather and the sun can have a major impact on how you feel about a certain day. So if you're like me, and you're a Cancer, then that means you're probably born around June, July. Now, what that means is that all of our birthdays are around summer. They're all in summer. And so all of our birthdays are in summer, and how we celebrate that is usually like you go somewhere to swim or eat watermelon, some kind of outdoors activity. And so you might begin to associate summer with feeling good or happy things because it's when your birthday is. Or maybe you hate summer for that same reason, or you're just like, ew, because it's too hot, or there's mosquitoes and this and that. But it just makes sense that if you're born during a certain time, that big events would happen, and then you would have associations with them that could influence your personality and make you similar to other people. Because someone born in December, this may not be true for other countries, but in the States, excuse me, generally people born in the winter months, they don't get to go to school right away. It's delayed a year because they're technically not old enough to start school. I think you have to be 5 or 6. They may be changing that now, and so that is a characteristic that would define those people born in winter times, is that if I had been born a month earlier, I would be in school right now, but because of when I was born, I had to wait a year, that sort of thing. So I think it's a really fascinating way to look at psychology and how people may react because of certain things. But I mean, it's also entirely possible that astrology has a lot of truth to it, and maybe it's right on the money, because if the sun, which is a star, can radically change our moods and actually help reduce the effects of depression and anxiety, then who's to say that other stars don't also have a big influence upon us? And there's also, you have to think about, like, the chicken before the egg. Like, do I exhibit Cancer-like qualities because I'm a Cancer? Or am I a Cancer because I exhibit Cancer-like qualities, you know? Because I'm sure most of us went through a phase where we're like, oh my gosh, what's your star sign? What's yours? And you talked and gossiped about who was what, and then you looked up all these posts and things like if the signs were desserts, and then you would be like, oh my gosh, that's so me, like, oh my gosh, that sort of thing. And so it's also possible that there's like a confirmation bias to where we expect ourselves to be a certain way because of our astrology sign, and then we start to conform to those ways and that sort of thing. And so that's just something that I find really fascinating. I think I'm gonna have this video be no talking, and then, you know, whichever you prefer, you can let me know, or you can just enjoy it.